Well, g'day, my name's Philip, and welcome back to the A to Z of Clarinet. And we have reached G. G is for gadgets, gizmos, and gear. Oh my. Just got a quick one for you today. It's the end of semester, everything's a little bit crazy and I'm really busy, but I did want to talk to you about gear. I love gear. I love talking about gear. I love trying new gear. I love buying new gear, although I don't like the pain of having to pay for it. But there's always something really exciting about trying a new piece of equipment and seeing what magical secrets it might unlock in your playing. I do think though that there is a bit of a trap involved with buying gear, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But for now, let's get started with some of my favorite things, some of the pieces of gear that I feel like I can't live without. Now, firstly, I have what I would call the three essential items beyond your instrument and a pencil, the three most essential items for your practice and your development as a musician. Now, the first one of these is the metronome. The metronome is an incredibly useful tool, and it's absolutely essential to practice with the metronome to develop good rhythmic habits. You can use it for exercises, you can use it for working on repertoire, there's all kinds of things you can do with it, and I would strongly suggest that you keep a metronome on your stand at all times, and it should be going along and you should be engaging with that metronome pretty much throughout your entire practice session. Obviously, there are times when we need to talk about flexibility and, we're working on things other than rhythm. So, take that with a grain of salt. But primarily, I think you should always have a metronome with you. Your metronome is kind of like your magnetic north. It's the thing that really helps you stay in time and helps you to develop those good rhythmic habits. The next thing I would say would be absolutely crucial, would be a good quality tuner. Now, I'm going to have a video about how to use your tuner and how to get the best out of your tuner in a few weeks' time. So I won't go into too much detail now. So a good quality tuner will give you a reference point for your information. Now, I'm not just talking about, chasing a needle, blowing into a box and chasing a needle. That's not what I'm talking about. The tuner will help you understand where things sit on your instrument, and you can then work on them accordingly. And finally, I can't show it to you because I'm using it to record this video, and that would be your recording device. Now, I use the recording device that's on my phone. I use the audio notes or the voice memos, whatever it's called, and I use the camera. The voice memos or the audio recording is fantastic for listening to what I play so that I can hear back exactly, or with a fair degree of accuracy, how I'm sounding at any particular time. And the video is really helpful for when I can record a performance, or even just in the practice room. I can get a sense of what I'm doing physically, and if there are some kind of movements or there are some little habits that I'm forming that I might want to eliminate, or things that I might want to enhance visually in my playing. So those three things I would say are absolutely essential. The metronome is like your magnetic north. It's your source of truth in the world. Your tuner will keep you accountable. It's like that friend who reminds you, not to have that sixth donut. And your recording device will never lie to you, okay? It's always going to tell you the truth. It's that friend that tells you, yeah, look, I'm not going to tell you what that friend tells me, but, I resent it at the time, but deep down I know that it's good for me. And now finally, I just want to talk about something that to me is very important. Gear can be addictive. It can become a constant quest or search for an unattainable goal. Now, when we're talking about gear, obviously some of the gear that we're going to talk about are things like mouthpieces, different brands of reeds, ligatures, barrels, instruments, all of that kind of stuff. And there's also an entire consumer-driven industry around providing those things. Now, a few years ago, I was having a conversation with a friend and colleague, and we were working on creating a product. Now, I'm not going to tell you what that product is because it's not my goal to sell you anything here. And my friend was lamenting. He said, students will buy anything if they think it'll make them play better. Now, we could think about that statement a couple of ways. It could be, if we're trying to sell something, we should say, yeah, this will make you play better, and then anyone will buy it. But it was actually more of a, Isn't it sad that students will buy anything if it makes them think they'll play better? And I think it is sad. We've got this whole industry around us that is trying to sell us these things. And what they're selling us is the promise of this perfect sound, or this perfect ease of articulation, or the perfect read, all of these wonderful things, or a perfectly in tune instrument. And I think that it's really sad. And it's sad because I think that especially younger players will think that if I buy this mouthpiece, then I will have a good sound. Or if I buy this brand of reeds, then I will have good articulation. Or if I buy this instrument, then I will have good intonation. It's simply not the case. Don't get me wrong. Having good gear does help you to do the things that you want to do, but it's the idea of the sound that has to come first. Rather than, struggling for years on a plastic student model instrument or a whatever, stock standard mouthpiece, rather than, struggling away for years and saying, one day when I can afford a good clarinet, then I will sound good. I think what we need to do is imagine what the sound is that we want to make and work towards that sound. As you get better and you progress a bit more and you mature, you'll find gear, you'll come across new mouthpieces, you'll come across new instruments, and you'll be able to pick the ones that will help you to do those things, and it will help you to create that sound that you have in your head. And I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't have a good quality mouthpiece or a good quality instrument. What I'm saying is that that's not where the sound comes from. When you get to a certain point where there are things available to you on other pieces of equipment that will help your vision become a reality more easily, then by all means buy it. But thinking that a mouthpiece or an instrument is going to be the thing that creates a good sound for you is completely false. Now, about that, I just want to talk a little bit about being happy with your sound. Now, one of the reasons people are constantly on the search for new gear or so receptive to new gear is because they're fundamentally not happy with their sound. So there are a couple of different solutions for that. One is keep buying gear until you're happy. That's a bit like tilting at windmills. You're throwing money at an invisible problem. The other option is to find what it is about your sound that you like and work on that and actually do your best to produce a good sound with what you have. I think that sometimes we're too hard on ourselves. For a really long time, just getting a bit personal here, I hope you don't mind, I was really unhappy with my sound for way too long. And it was a very recent thing that I actually, listened to myself playing and I thought, you know what? I don't want to sound like anyone else. I actually really like the sound I make. And you know what? As soon as I made that decision that I did actually love my sound, I started to play better. I started to enjoy my playing much more, and I would put my hand up for more performances, and I would feel much more comfortable in rehearsals and concerts, any kind of, professional engagement, or even, just one-off gigs. I felt so much better about everything. Did my sound change? No. I just felt better about it because I accepted it more. Look, you know what? Let's do this. I'm going to get really honest with you. Cue the music. Your sound is unique because it's your sound. It's the sound that you craft. Now that ideal sound is made for you in your mind by all the recordings you listen to, all the performances you've been to, all the performances that you've done. Your idea of what your instrument should sound like. It's your idea. It's not anyone else's. You can't sound exactly like someone else just by buying some new gear. And you know what? No one can sound just like you because they're not built like you. Your sound is unique and your sound is special and you should love your sound. The best part? No one can take your sound away from you. So your sound doesn't come from your equipment. It comes from up here and it comes from your heart. So you know what? Here's what I want you to do. Here's your call to action. I want you to go and grab your instrument right now. Go and get your instrument. Elena, Riley, grab your clarinets. Wilbur, get your guitar. Mel, Levi, grab your flutes. Josh, grab your mallets. Otto, grab your mallets as well. Michael, go get your bass clarinet. And I want you to play some music. Play some sounds, even just some long notes. Play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, for goodness sakes. Play anything. Listen to your sound. Listen to that sound that you've created. It's beautiful. Now what I want you to do is get into the comments and I want you to tell me 2 things that you love about your sound, and 1 thing about your sound that you want to enhance, something that you want even more of. I don't want to hear about what you want to fix. I don't want to hear about what you don't like. I want to know what you love about your sound and what you want more of in your sound. Now, I'm going to leave you now with a quote from my dearly beloved teacher, Harry Sparno, who's passed away, unfortunately. I wish I could call him on the phone and talk to him about this right now, but, we can't do that. So this quote will have to suffice. A tone comes from within yourself, from your heart. It's actually quite simple. If you cannot produce a beautiful tone with your mouthpiece attached to something as basic as a garden hose, then it is unlikely that the finest materials will help you either. If you work at your long tones over and over again and keep listening with your heart and your soul, you will be repaid with a beautiful tone. Equipment helps, but ultimately it comes down to you as a musician to make a wonderful warm tone. And when you have it, you can buy whatever you want. I love your sound. I believe in you. Take care, and I'll see you soon. But seriously, buy a tuner and a metronome.